Family. I live in Haute-de-Bussermaine with my wife and my two boys. I have family in America. My mother and my father live there. I have one brother and two older sisters. I get along well with my family. We don't fight about things or argue. My father looks a lot like I do. He has the same colored hair. He's a little bit shorter than me. My mother has dark hair. My father is very talkative. He's a very friendly person. He likes to tell a lot of stories, talk about what it was like growing up or adventures that he had. My mother will do that sometimes also, not as much as my father. They're both very kind people. They get along well with each other and with other people. My parents were not strict when I was young, so they didn't have a lot of rules for me. I look more like my father, especially in pictures when we were the same age. In my father's free time, he likes to fish. He also likes to do some sports. My mother, in her free times, likes to read books, and she also enjoys cooking and doing things in the garden. I get along with both of my parents the same. We never have problems with each other. When I was young, both of my grandmothers lived in a house next door to me, so I spent a lot of time with them. I would go there and eat cookies and watch television with them or play games. My grandmothers loved to do puzzles, so we would put puzzles together or crosswords or things like that. My family is a big family. My mother had two brothers, and I have 8 cousins on my mother's side, 8 first cousins. My father had 2 sisters and 1 brother, and I have about 10 cousins on that side. I don't see my cousins often. I have one cousin that I see several times a year because he bought a cottage next to my parents' cottage on a lake. So when we're there, we see him. But most of my cousins live in other states, not in the state where I live. They live far away. And some of them live in the state, but they're 4 or 5 hours away. I like my family because we have fun together. We're very loud when we're together for holidays or birthdays or at the cottage. Sometimes we're all at the cottage together, sleeping on the floor and places like that because there's not enough room. I don't argue with my father and mother. When I was younger, sometimes, usually because they told me I couldn't do something I wanted to do, but that didn't happen very often, especially as I got older. My fondest memories of childhood were spending vacations at the lake with my family. We would do a lot of swimming and playing in the water and fishing and hiking and things like that. We like to spend time relaxing together as a family. I'd say that's what we do together mostly. We get together for birthdays and holidays and sometimes for other things. I would say family is more important than friends in my experience, but I have very good friends also. The family celebration that I like the most is birthdays. So we get together. Usually we will go to a restaurant or something and eat a meal together. We get together every Christmas. So usually in the afternoon we will have a Christmas party or celebrate Christmas just with our family, like my wife and my boys. And then in the afternoon we will go to my parents' house and my brothers and sisters come with their families and we celebrate together, open more presents and eat a lot of food. Easter we also celebrate together as a family, so we will come together, usually at my mother's house, my mother and father's house, and we will eat food together and do an Easter egg hunt for the children and just relax.